Hey everyone, hope you are well. Top 5 tips to having an awesome workplace meeting. Step number 1, go with a very definite agenda. It is important to go with an agenda during your meetings. Your agenda must cover in a timely fashion on what are the key points that needs to be discussed. It must also cover what key points must be addressed by whom or who would own and lead the respective points. It must cover with respect to each point on what is the expectation from respective stakeholders. It should clearly mention the key attendees or the must-have attendees in the meeting, along with optional attendees. It should also mention any data or research that needs to be prepared for the meeting. Step number 2, or point number 2 rather, don't be discursive during your meetings. Even post you have completed step number 1 of defining a very specific agenda, there will be certain folks who will try to be discursive, who would beat around the bush, who would try to hijack the meeting with other topics. There can be several reasons, with the most common being casualness or lack of preparation or anything similar. As the organizer of the meeting and even as an attendee, it is important that you hold your ground and bring the quorum back to the original topic of discussion, keeping in mind that you are polite about it. For instance, you can enunciate that this is a good point, but let's get back to the original topic of discussion, or you can ask them if on how is their current predicament related to the current topic of discussion, and if it is not, maybe we can have a separate meeting on the same out of mutual respect for time of the quorum present in the meeting. Point number 3, track delta progress. Why do we have all these recurring meetings? Meetings are a waste of time if even by having them repeatedly, we are not moving forward. Thus, it is important that if the meeting is about a project, let's say, we are tracking delta progress in the meeting on the project. If the defined goals, let's say, if they are not being met, we are discussing very specifically on reasons and root causes and how can the team and the specific individuals must improvise to meet their targets and goals. Without this discussion, we can probably get away just on emails. Remember, meetings are not just for updates but deep discussions centered around a very specific agenda. There is absolutely no shame in cancelling a meeting if the team is not prepared, because it is going to be a waste of time for everyone. Point number 4, 50% discussion and 50% execution. As discussed, a meeting must not be held to discuss random gyan which might not be centered around arriving at a specific call to action or improvisations. You must divide your meetings into 2 time zones. In one of the time zones, the team can have discussions, due diligence, and brainstorming. Also, while doing these discussions, identify the difference between a fish market and a corporate setup. Understand the difference between sincerely debating to arrive at a solution and just speaking to show off. The most senior person in the meeting must take charge here and course correct the team and individuals as required. In another time zone, you should specifically aim to mutually arrive on next action items and assigned owners and what goals or KPIs would be tracked in the next recurring meeting. Point number 5, before and after the meeting, ensure that you document these key minutes and next steps and try to maintain only a single mail thread, which might act as a single pane of truth for the topic in discussion. This also helps to create a backtrail if anyone wants to understand what the chronology of events were. Speaking about before the meeting, you must aim to give one or two reminders enunciating what is expected out of everyone and confirming if everyone is prepared for the meeting or the same needs to be rescheduled due to reasons of availability or anything else. Thanks everyone. Have a nice day ahead.